modern secular West has followed the extremes of a great pendulum. We've seen these wonderful scientific achievements, but also devastating industrial wars. We have this great move towards more and more freedom, which is answered by authoritarian control. We've seen unheard of decreases in poverty, more than we've probably seen in the history of the world. But that is also coupled with increasing despair and loneliness, a breakdown in the meaning that binds us to ourselves and to the people around us. And the recent events surrounding COVID have accentuated this underlying rift. We've noticed greater and greater levels of control and more isolation and loneliness. So we look at this bleak future of fractured individuality, which is mirrored by iron-fisted tyranny. And it seems like in order to fight the fears that are brought about by this fraying social fabric, or to halt this perceived apocalypse which will be caused by human activities and industrial economies, we get the sense that a lot of the leading global organizations have turned to actually accelerated the very mechanisms of this pendulum. And so they're fostering more top-down control and also enticing us to worship our splintering differences. And this tendency towards these extremes, it can't only be framed politically anymore. We can't just have the right wing criticizing large states and the left wing criticizing large corporations, because now we notice the large corporations and the large state and even global organizations teaming up in order to bring about this very strange world, which is both transhuman and anti-human at the same time. And so one of the things that made me want to join ARC was the possibility of formulating a different story, first of all. A different story of what our place is in the world, a different story of how the future might unfold, one which is not just based on fear, on control, but on hope, and hopefully grounded in the great values that have brought us where we are, the great positive movements, both in terms of ideas, in terms of morality, also in terms of our scientific improvements. And so one of the issues that we see, one of the problems of these giant top-down organizations with fragmented individuals is that they tend to fray the things that make up normal life, actually, because the world is actually made of individuals that are, a bringing together of different aspects of different thoughts, different feelings, different experiences, but then these are bound into families. And these families are also bound into different communities, different religious groups, different civil organizations, which are bound into cities, into states. But this all has to have a organic existence together. We need to be able to have immediate experiences around us. So it seems like these great organizations, these large structures that are looming upon us tend to want to fragment all these intermediary existences and to reduce humans to a bunch of dots on a map, looking at screens. And so ARC seems to be able to maybe propose a different vision on different levels in terms of, first of all, the narrative. Can we formulate a narrative that is not anti-human, that is pro-human? Because when in terms of environmental fears, when we give people the impression that humans should diminish on the face of the earth in terms of their quantity, that's not the only thing that will happen. Humans will also diminish in terms of their spirit And so the despair that we see around us, right, the breakdown of all of these social connections is related to a vision of the human being, which sees the person as just a consumer, someone to buy goods, either positively or negatively, either promoting that, reducing humans to consumers, or criticizing it and criticizing humans for being parasites on the world. We need to formulate a different vision. And I think that we have in our traditions, we have in our great, the great theological movements of the West in the past few thousand years, we have the possibility of formulating a different vision of humans that exist in love with each other, that are submitted to the transcendent good, and that can work together towards a better future. And so I very much looking forward to joining on this first conference to have a discussion, for people to come and to answer some of the questions that we're looking at, questions that look at these different aspects, whether it be economic, whether it be environmental, whether it be in terms of the very existence of our families and the manner in which humans constitute themselves and find meaning in their lives. And so I hope that those of you who can will join us in supporting this endeavor. It is, of course, a burgeoning new thing. Who knows where it's going to go? But I feel like now is the time to act. It might, we're standing at a few minutes before it's too late. And so now is the time to propose a new story and a new vision. Hopefully one that will prevent the worst in the years that come.